Dave is a 30-year-old unemployed man, who spends his entire day working on a cardboard maze. He claims that he is a good artist, but he has never made anything useful. In the first scene, we are shown a recorded clip of Dave's interview, where he states that he built the maze because he wanted to prove himself. He also regretfully accepts responsibility for the people that died because of it. The movie then flashes back to 3 days in the past. Dave's girlfriend, Annie, returns back from a trip. She notices a giant structure made of cardboard boxes in her living room. When she calls out for Dave, he responds from inside the box. He welcomes her back home and tells her that he built the labyrinth all by himself. Annie then excuses herself and goes to take a shower. However, when she returns, she sees that Dave is still in the box. He explains that he has been working on the box all weekend and he has lost his way. Puzzled, Annie reminds him that it's just cardboard and he can easily come out of it by knocking them over. However, Dave claims that the structure is much bigger from the inside and he doesn't want to tear it down because it took him so long to make it. Annie grows impatient and she proceeds to enter, but Dave forbids her, saying that it's too dangerous. Frustrated, she starts to shake the cardboard boxes. However, this causes the things inside the structure to fall over and Dave starts screaming, pleading with her to stop. Annie backs down but she insists on coming in. However, Dave once again forbids her, saying that she will be lost. Looking at the situation, Annie asks how long he has been inside the cardboard and the latter replies that it's been 3 days. Annie, who has become worried at this point, suggests he break the structure down, but Dave is adamant on finding another way. Hence, left with no options, Annie calls his friend, Gordon, for help. After a while, Gordon comes over and Annie explains everything to him. From inside the box, Dave also mentions that no one should come inside yet as the maze isn't complete. He then explains the beauty of the structure, saying that he started from the center and built outward like a seashell. As Annie and Gordon discuss the situation, the latter mentions that it's very typical of Dave to start something and leave it unfinished. They also wonder where he is defecating inside. Dave overhears the conversation and responds that he actually hasn't eaten in 3 days. Hearing this, Annie gets worried, so Gordon tries to lift the cardboard. But just then, things start to shake violently, as if there is some sort of machine inside the maze. Left with no choice, Gordon decides to seek help from their mutual friend, Leonard. However, he ends up calling others too. The others include Harry the journalist and his crew, siblings Greg and Bryn, over-enthusiastic Jane, 2 Belgian tourists and a homeless man. Dave warns everyone against breaking or entering the maze, saying that it's too dangerous because of the obstacles and booby traps. This frustrates Leonard and he decides to return home as Dave refuses to let him help. In the next scene, Annie starts to worry and Dave apologizes to her for putting her through this. He says that he misses her, and although she is upset with him, she admits that she too misses him. Annie finally has had enough and she decides to go inside the maze to bring him out. This is music to Harry's ears and he starts to film everything for his documentary. When others learn about Annie's adventure, everyone except the homeless man decides to give her company. Once the group enters, they all realize that Dave was telling the truth and the structure is much bigger than it looks from outside. Gordon also gets a taste of the maze when he accidentally slits his finger and his blood is strongly absorbed by the cardboard floor. Jane and the others start to explore the maze on their own while Harry and his crew follow Annie and Gordon around. They look for Dave but soon realize that the maze is more complicated than they thought. As they try to figure out their path, Harry comes across a button on the wall with a warning against pressing it. However, he nonchalantly presses it, and the next second, Gordon is hit with a ball. Next, the group comes across a hallway which leads to a musical room. The room has keyboards painted on the wall. However, they discover that they can venture into the wall through the black keys. The wall leads the group to a pit full of discarded paper with 2 origami birds watching over them from the balcony. Soon, one of the birds lunges at them, sending everyone into a panic mode. The door to the room also closes and Annie starts looking for another way out. She notices a giant face sculpture on the wall and helps everyone escape through its mouth. Annie is shaken by the ordeal and she struggles to cope with the fact that the origami are alive. Harry tries to film her reaction on camera but they are soon interrupted by Jane, who comes running into the room. She excitedly tells everyone that she is having fun exploring the maze. But right then, she mistakenly steps on a booby trap. The trap activates and her head is separated from her body, much to everyone's horror. However, instead of blood, yarns and confetti spill out of Jane's body. Witnessing this, everyone panics and runs out of the room. The scene then cuts to Greg and Bryn playing hide and seek inside the maze by themselves. Unfortunately, in the process, Greg mistakenly activates another booby trap and he is sandwiched between the wall and a spiked grill, instantly killing him. Shortly after, Bryn notices his dead body, much to her horror. To make matters worse, she is splashed with a strange pink substance. Elsewhere, Annie starts to get upset and complains why Dave built the booby traps. Gordon explains that without the traps, the maze would simply be a series of articulated hallways. Soon, they are joined by a frightened Bryn. She reveals what happened to Greg and takes everyone to the place where he was killed. However, to everyone's astonishment, Greg's body is found missing and a trail of blood and giant footsteps are leading out of the room. After examining the scene, Gordon deduces that the footsteps belong to a man-eating half-bull half-human monster called the Minotaur. Annie finally has had enough and she decides to make a hole through the cardboard wall with a knife to get everyone out of the maze. Lo and behold, wind starts to blow and they hear loud noises as if they are trying to stop her from tearing open the wall.